All right, and we are finally live. I am so honored and happy to have two of my really good friends here who are very much into personal development, healing, and just overall, as I said, becoming a better individual, a better woman. I'll let them let you all know where they you can find them at. Follow these ladies. One thing about it is, guys, it takes a village, it takes a community. So you might be getting something from one other person that the next can't offer. So this is why it's really good to follow other social media influencers, so that way you can be very well rounded. So first I'll introduce you all to Pick Meek. And she is excuse me. She is Miss Accountability, your favorite single mom. And basically what she does is actually very inspiring. What I love about Pick Meek is that she's a storyteller. She doesn't call herself a storyteller, but she is. And I feel like we live in a world of such everything is just so fake. You rarely have people who can be honest and vulnerable, whether they see it like that or not, to speak their truth and tell their truth in such an enjoyable way. So that's always something I really liked about her. So check out our channel, especially if you are a mother. Obviously, you see the topic today. We are talking about, whether you are a mother or not, you are a woman. We all possess that mother archetype within us. And then we also have the Black Lamb, uh, as close to perfection as you can get on this earth, baby.
Stop it. Stop.
As baby, she done the work. That's one thing about it. I definitely love her. No, but seriously, Lamb overall is she's into health and fitness and wellness, specializing in nutrition and, like we said, personal development. If I didn't already say that, you can follow her at the Black Lamb because, as she teaches on her channel, so many people are worried about the aesthetic of looking good. But the only way that you can look good is if you are mentally sound. And so she gives you very practical advice on getting to this space. So anyway, ladies, is there any other social media platforms that you would like them to follow you on?
No, mine just YouTube, the Black Lamb.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about
follow
you?
me on the Instagram and the YouTube, both of which is pick_meek.
Pig underscore me. Hey Queen. Hey. Thanks for stopping in, guys. If you are here, make sure you share the live. This is going to be a super important conversation that I feel like doesn't happen as often as it should. I think there's a bit of a stigma attached to speaking about your mama or speaking about your mother or like your childhood experiences. Because I think one part of it, especially in the African American community, is it can almost come off as disrespect, right? Because these are individuals who have, raised you and, sacrificed for you and all of that. But I think in this new day and age that we live in, we are saying, yes, we honor and are appreciative of our mothers and the sacrifices that they have made and just giving us life in general. So this is not a mama bashing session, to say the least. But we are also in a space now to where me and my colleagues are very much into healing. So we're just going to be discussing a bit about that. So Meek, how you feeling about the topic as far as motherhood, and like what do you feel like your biggest struggle is from how you were mothered or parent, how you dealt with your mother versus how you mother your child?
Mm. Hmm. It's
Or
hard
is
to
it the same?
say.
Don't lie now. Keep it a buck. Or is it
It's
the
hard to
same?
say. Um, Mine is more so like a lesson because where my mother lacked, I ended up repeating in her footsteps, and then I had to learn on my own how to step apart from the cycle. So, I'm fourth generation teenage mom. So
No, I did not know that.
my mom had children. My mom had her first kid at 16. I had my first kid at 18. So, and then me and her fall exactly the same in the birth order. Her mother had her children in the same order as my mom. So me and my mom are the same people in the birth order. And it
No,
just was
explain
like
it. Hold on, wait. Explain it. What does that mean?
okay, so my mom is my mom's third kid, and I'm my mom's third kid.
Okay, understood. Okay.
So my mom, she's like, you're the most like me out of all of my children. So her expectation for me was to be better than her. So when I repeated the cycle, it was like, golly, somehow the ball was still dropped. So every emotion that she felt from her mother, unwanted, unloved, was passed down to me. So I essentially broke the cycle because my baby do not know what being unloved is. Like, he knows that he's blessed, he's surrounded with love, he's spoiled with love. So, it's all that's what I want to talk about today. Like, I want to talk about, just because we have those experiences, it does not mean that we have to stick with what we know.
Lamb, what you feel about that?
About Meek's part or about the question that you originally asked? I'm sorry.
Either or, the original question or
Yeah, I think that if you fail to be introspective and work on yourself, you're destined to repeat whatever it is that you grew up in. And so one of the things that I said was, first of all, I'll just say this: I love my mom. Both of my parents did the best job they possibly could, and I'll never take that from them at all. But me doing the work that I did on myself, I came to realize that I needed to do some work, because the things that I said I didn't want to be, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like my mom in this certain area. I actually was like, oh, you're your mama. Like, you need to change it, because the exact thing that I said I didn't want to do, I was doing, and it wasn't until I went to therapy and I worked on myself, I was actually open to being like, okay, I clearly can't fix this myself. I don't know how to get myself out of this. Me going to therapy actually helped me break whatever negative influence my mom had on me, right? And there's always positive and negative. Like, there's a lot of good, but there's also things based on the way that I was raised that I had to work on. And so if we're not open to bettering ourselves honestly, like assessing ourselves accurately, and then working on that, and then you're gonna repeat the same cycle. So yeah.
And I think another piece of it is, this is what we were conditioned to. This is our program. Like, this is what we were taught. If your mother taught you to do your hair a certain way, that's how you do your hair. If your mother never taught you how to do your hair, you might not know how to do it. Like, it is so many little pieces that go into parenting, just the way that you speak to your child. And I think that's what's so important. It's a big piece. And I know that sometimes, like, the science freaks can come in with like epigenetics and certain things that just deal with our biology. And sometimes we just will be, pretty much who we are. But I don't think anybody can argue that trauma is real and it does exist. And if you're not careful, and we know damn well psychological programming exists. I mean, just look at how simply trends and fads can change. Bell bottoms in, bell bottoms out, tattoos in, tattoo. So we are creatures that can be easily programmed, whether we like to admit that or not. It's true. So, and to deny a programming from a mother and a father is just asinine at this point. Now, if you are a wise person or an old soul or like a chosen one, quote unquote, you might be the black sheep, right? And you might be the one that kind of call out like, hell, motherfucker, no, this ain't right. That ain't fair. That ain't fair, and that ain't right. And this is crazy. But you're going to get a lot of backlash because of that. Because, like Luke was saying, it's easier to repeat that psychological cycle. So that's a very interesting topic. Meek, I saw you writing. What were you over there jotting down?
Oh, just my speech when I tell my story, because I don't want it to seem like I just hate my mama.
No, and let's be clear. Let's be clear. This is coming from a space of 3 women who love their mother, and respectfully, Lamb mother has passed away. You know what I mean? So you cannot think that for a second 3 women would be up here to do that. No, we're up here to be an example of how we can thank you, baby. I do appreciate that. All right, close that door, please. To be that example of how we can heal through change. And a big thing I learned through Meek was through storytelling, because I think so often we just, hold it in, don't disrespect your mother. But what about the silent cry of mama that never was heard? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes when we also silence ourselves to not say certain things, we do our parents a discredit. And I think once I started talking to my mother from that space of asking questions, not assuming, but asking questions, it really helped me understand where her mind was and just how generational changes happen. One last piece before I want to break into that. Something that you said stood out to me, Lamb. You said, I don't know how to get out of this myself. And I get chills just saying that, because it's like we won't admit that as people. It's embarrassing to almost say, like, I don't know how to get out of this depression. I don't know how to get out of this psychological recycling I keep doing. Because that's another piece of it too. Like, I get what you saying. It might be coming from a space of just personal healing, personal development, healing myself, trauma, whatever. But I think also as mothers and as women, whether you have children or not, you have to really let that sink in. What cycles are you in? What people are you dating? What mental programs do you have that you keep cycling through, and you're too embarrassed to get the help, or you won't make the time? You'll make time to go over his house and give him some of that Uchi woo, Uchi wally wally, Uchi bang bang. You can make time for that, but you can't make time for 30-minute, therapy session.
Mhm.
Like, that's some fucking bars. Anyway, let me not curse. I'm trying to censor myself. So, Meek, go ahead. So, what would you say? I think it's definitely powerful to tell our stories, and just give a little insight. And if you don't mind, after you tell your story, what was the mirroring moment for you after that? Like, what was the reflection moment after the situation
What
with your
story am I telling? There's so many.
well, anyone that comes to mind, like, give us an example of, well, how about this? Just a general feeling of what you felt your experience was with your mother. And if
Okay.
you want to throw a story in there, cool. And feel free, y'all, in the comments to drop down below if you have any questions or anything you feel like you're struggling with, or questions that you have about parenting, because it doesn't come with a instruction manual. Feel free to drop it down below, so that we can definitely touch on it or answer that question. So, but yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm gonna share a real sad story. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sad story. And before I get into it, I'm gonna start off by saying that what year was that? Oh, 03? Yeah, I love my mama. We're gonna call her B Dub in this moment. B Dub or my mama. Um, my mom was a great lady, strong AF, very determined, as independent as can be, loving. She was self sufficient, very respectful. She was giving, very beautiful. And she was a class act because my mama knew how to carry herself. Um, she has a cultivating personality. So my mom draws in energy. So growing up, I used to want to be just like my mom, especially because she was so fly. Like, she had that like Maxine living single look down packed. Like, my mom was
She was
fly.
my favorite.
Exactly. Like, my mom took business casual to a whole new level. I was like, I cannot wait to get older to be like mommy, because mommy fly. So I loved my mom so much, and it used to hurt my feelings because I used to feel like my mother didn't care about me. So it was four of us total. My oldest brother didn't live with us. He moved out when I was an infant. And my mom blamed me for that. So, like, that story, she's like, my kid couldn't even live here because of you. So she used to blame me for a lot of stuff. I should be like, dang, like, my mom had this fantastic life, and then I was born, and then her life got terrible. So to me, I felt like I was like the destruction of everything. It was like, ain't no way I'm a positive being, because the way my mother would talk to me, she would make me feel like she just had this fairy tale lifestyle, and then I came along and I just was this dark cloud. So I've had depression since I was 8. I had my first self-deletion attempt when I was 10. So it just was like this whole feeling of, you know, not feeling wanted. And then it was like my parents were together, but what I say is we were a casualty of their war. So they liked each other, but we just was little people that came along. We wasn't really little people that they wanted or desired. So they ignored us a lot of the time. So the saddest story ever. The saddest story. I'm over it because it was like, 21 years ago? Like 21 years ago. So August 14, 2003. It was like a serious moment here because it was like one of the first times Cleveland had a blackout. And I say the blackout happened because of me. So me and my sister was riding our bikes to this, the little local, what's that, recreational center. My sister left me because she's a super douchebag. But that's how my mama raised us, to be in competition. So my sister left me, and in the process of her leaving me, this man ran me over and he was trying to kidnap me. So yeah, this story sucks. So while he was literally putting me in the back of his car, 2 black Muslim men like stopped and was like, "Do you know him?" And I was like, "No, I don't know him." So then they stopped him from leaving. They saved my life. They called 911. They called my mama. Y'all, why when my mama got to the scene of the crime, she's sitting up there taking care of the man who ran me down, ignoring me. Like, hello, mom. My leg is broken. Couldn't get up. I'm like, "Hey, mom, I got hit by a car." And my mom like, "Is everything okay with you, sir? Are you okay?" So while my dad's like, "No, we're going to call the police." I kid you not, this man, he starts shaking, y'all. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm going in a diabetic coma." So my mom, as caring as she is, she trying to save this man's life. She tossing candy in his mouth because at the time she worked with like older people. And she's like, "We got to give him something sweet." And I'm like, "Girl, this man is faking because he don't want to go to jail for trying to kidnap me." The ambulance get there.
Hold on, wait. Hold up, wait a minute. No, we got to pause for just a second.
Okay.
I thought you were saying that she was trying to help the man who helped you. That's what I thought
she was trying to help the man who ran me down.
Maybe was she confused? Was she confused?
She knew he hit me.
I think I'm just saying in my brain, and I am not taking from this story, but in my brain, she had to think that was the man who helped get you out of the car of the abductor, right?
No, because they was standing, they were very Muslim looking men, and they were like letting them know, like, we stopped him from pulling off. And then my dad was like, "So you the one who hit her? Why'd you hit her? Because he crossed the yellow lines to run me down. Like, he came across the street to hit me." So my dad's like, "Well, why would you do that to her?" So then my mom, she's like, "Well, maybe he couldn't see." Like, literally making excuses for this man. Like,
but is that who was about to abduct you?
Yes, the kidnapper. Yes, him. She's making excuses for him. Yes, Crystal. That's not the end of the story. So anyway, that's just the first half. So then the ambulance does arrive. So, they give you a choice because you can't ride with both your parents because somebody has to drive the car to the hospital. My whole life, I was always closer to my dad. And this moment was like a very big moment just in general in our whole dynamic for my household. So they're like, "Which parent do you want to ride with you?" So me, automatically, I love my mom. I've always wanted my mom's love. Wouldn't this be a great time for her to come be my mama while I'm in the back of this ambulance with my leg broken? No, my mother refused to ride in the back of the ambulance with me. He rode in the front. She's like, "No, I'm just not comfortable being back there with her." So my dad had an attitude. He's like, "Why won't you ride in the back with her? Like, she's asking for her mother, be her mother." And she's like, "Oh, she'll be fine. I'm just gonna ride in the front." So she rode in the front. So like my feelings was hurt the whole time. I was like, damn, like my mom genuinely just do not care about me. Like, I'm sitting up here with a broken leg. She's sitting up here trying to help the man that damn broke the leg. Like, girl, I wouldn't even be over here with my leg broken if that man would have left me alone to begin with. Like,
right.
So it's like you only cared about him. You couldn't even care enough to hold my hand in the back of the ambulance. And then once we got to the hospital, baby girl complained the whole time. It's hot. Is this because the hospital wasn't normally running because now the city was shut down. We had a citywide blackout. And that's because Jesus do not play about me. Okay. Like the world was about to rock if I got kidnapped.
Let me go.
Like, so like, no, that couldn't, it wasn't in order for that to happen to me. So something bad happened among the cities. So yeah, but my mom complained the whole time. She was just like, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. Like she made it seem as if me getting hit by a car was inconveniencing her life. So, you know, that just made me like, I just started liking her less and less as I aged. So
Yeah. Man, that's pick me.
Meek, that's a lot.
girl, that's just my
ready.
story. That's since
That's-
August 14th, 03.
My heart was racing like from the moment you started the story. Goodness gracious. Oh,
I'm still stuck. It was so many pieces to that. And it takes sometimes to hear a story for you to see. And we are not any medical professionals up here, so we're not saying that. But it's so much suffering that happens. And this is what I mean. It's not an excuse for the abusers, right? It's not an excuse for Pick Meek's mom, right? But it's just interesting to me how she was clear. They call it the dead mother in psychology, at least a piece of it, right? Which is the mother is present, but the mother isn't present. And I think that's just a small piece of it. If we got any doctor, psychologists, any William, how you doing? I see you in the comments. How you doing? Anyway, you know, it's such a detachment because it was too much of her looking at herself. And when like we all say, when we don't heal ourselves and when we don't work on ourselves, we will unconsciously project that onto our children in the harshest way possible. Now, do I think she actually wanted Meek to be deleted in that moment? No, but that's how she felt because of her lack of looking at herself. That's crazy. Meek, like, so that's just one story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you move past that with, hold the fuck on, with the fact that we know genetics exist, you know, we inherit things from our parents, you know, just our own life things that we deal with. Like, how did you get to a maturity level of even saying, I don't know if anybody missed it or if I need to scream in this fucking mic, but she did say that she was depressed since 8. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And I'm just curious.
that 10 years old thing is
Like, it's crazy to me. Like, and people really don't understand. That's why I choose kindness. That's why I choose kindness and I choose love. Because I just think to myself, you never know what the next person going through. You know what I mean? And obviously that was a long time ago, but okay, let me get to the point. I'm sorry. I just had to bring that full circle because people really don't be getting it. Like, it'd be a lot going on at the same time. How did you get to a point and when did you get to a point of like trying to actually heal through that? And has your mom changed? Is she different now?
No.
Let's just end it. Let's just call this a night. Like, stop playing with me. Like, don't keep answering questions the way that I don't think you're gonna answer them.
No,
you don't think she changed at all?
She's too old to change, and that's one thing. Like, that's one thing that I had to come to terms with because a lot of why it was like I would be so close to being hopping over. You know, I always say when I go to therapy, I'll be like, I'm stuck in between my old life and my new life. It's like old life is like, no, stay, be in pain. And new life is like, no, let's see what's out there and let's be happy. So one of the things that would keep me in the behind would be my relationship with my parents, primarily my mother, because my mother is where I harbor most of my pain. Like, I had a good relationship with my father and I understand why my father does what he does. My mama, not so much. Like, it's just, I feel like she just be choosing to be a butthole. And I'd be like, chill out, B-Dub. But what helped me move past it was, one, prior to therapy, my mom and I, we talk. Like, we have a decent relationship when we can get along. And a lot of the same stuff that happened to me happened to her. Girl, my mama got hit by a car when she was like 3 and nobody gave a damn about her. When
Mm.
she went to the hospital, her family didn't even come see her. So probably in that moment, she probably
It's
psychologically just was
triggered.
reacting how it happened for her.
Mhm.
So a lot because I have an understanding of who she is, why she acts the way she does. I give her grace for it. I forgive her. I
Mhm.
understand that my mother did the absolute best that she could, because she did. She genuinely did. Like, she got up day in and day out. She couldn't be that emotional mama, but she knew how to work. She knew how to teach us certain things. Like, girl, the only reason why I can sit up here and do my hair every day is because of my mother. My mother said it ain't no way you're gonna have a head full of hair and you don't know what to do with it. So I can't fault her. I got something from her. So I take the good and I accept that she did the best that she could. And then I try my best to build a relationship based on that. So, I'm trying to get her to come over on the Jesus side. She believes in Jesus, but she's like most Black people where Jesus know her heart and she don't really follow the actual guidance and
You wrong
laws.
for that. You try to slip that in, you won't do it today. I heard it. You won't. She hit you
People
with
be
that
doing
good
their
old
part.
Jesus know my heart. Shit.
She one of them people. She Jesus know her heart, but she don't really be practicing his word. So it's just like I be letting her
And
know.
he
I'm
know
like,
that too. So
That part.
so it's just I give her grace. I give her time. I love my mom. When I miss her, I go see her. Like, I usually go see her on Sundays after church, after I done had a little bit of Jesus and my spirit is down. I give her a little bit of my time. And then I'll leave when she's starting to act like herself, like when she's about to pull one of her little episodes. So I just be like, all right, mom, I see you not in a good mood, so I'll come back next Sunday. I love you.
Man, you so strong. And this is why I get so offended when people like strong Black woman or just strong woman, period. Because it's just people in general, deal with that. One thing I love about men, I feel like they're naturally just a bit stoic, more stoic than women. And I feel like things hurt our feelings more, or maybe they do hurt a man's feelings and maybe they just can hide it more. But I just really empathize with you in that moment, and I definitely just respect you for your resilience and your ability to show up, because I meet so many people who just say F my mama, screw her, blah blah blah, and then she passes away or something happens, and at the very least they didn't at least get those questions. Y'all know, obviously I'm into spirituality, religion, definitely into psychology and just personal development, healing, even like health and wellness to a certain extent, because I think it all goes together. But one thing I've noticed is that there's so much undiagnosed mental illness within our community. And you see statistics like only 4% of the population is bipolar, or you see 22%, 20%, or I don't know how many people are depressed, but you see these statistics, and I get it, but it's just like, man, how many people are suffering silently and just not saying anything? Or like Lamb said, I don't know how to get myself out of this. That's like a big part of it, because a lot of people won't admit that there's an issue with their behavior. So anyway, that's crazy, Meek. I appreciate that. And thank you for answering that, because somebody in the comments said, hold on, let me go back up. And they're thanking you, and they're saying beautiful souls, greetings, beautiful souls. They're really enjoying the conversation. Shout out to Team Peterson. We appreciate you coming over here, coming over to the other side. Yes, shout out to you. Thanks for coming over. But you answered her question. She said, why was mama like that? And I think you pretty much answered that. Did you have anything else to add to that before we move on? Me?
I mean, my mama had one heck of a life. Both her parents were alcoholics. Her mother had 4 children by the time she was 19. My mother's father was abusive to my grandmother. They got divorced by the time my grandmother was 22. And then my mother was raised by her grandmother, who had like 9 children of her own in the projects. So my mom she didn't have the love that she needed. She
Right.
basically raised herself on survival. So she literally did the best that she could with us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big, and this is what I love about our generation. we are really in a space of correcting a lot of the healing that needs to happen. Whatever angle you want to come from it, but just do better. Because I think unfortunately, a lot of our ancestors and parents they just had to live. Nobody can think about depression when
I'm
you
trying
have
to eat.
to eat.
I'm trying to eat, keep the lights on. Like that's the last thing you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just pull through it. And I'm so grateful that we are alive right now. I know we all have different spiritual beliefs, but I do believe in a certain form of reincarnation. I believe that, you know, we're old souls in a new body. You know, I believe that we come back. That's why some of us have certain memories. That's why some of us have certain natural God-given talents. We ain't got to go into that, but yeah, I think it's definitely something deep there. So I appreciate that. Now, last question for you, Meek, real quick before we talk to Lamb for a second. How do you think? Now, this is the issue I find with us mamas, because Jordan Peterson, which I go back and forth with him. I go back and forth with him, but one thing I took from him is he was critiquing mothers, and one thing that really made a lot of sense to me that I feel like we need to do better as mothers is we try to protect our children from the world instead of prepare them for the world. Let me finish. Am I not saying that we're not teaching them how to cook or clean or, you know, do this, but we will sometimes over coddle, overcompensate. Oh no. You know, and I get it. Like, put YouTube Kids on your kids' phone so they're not finding stuff too early, because that's another problem. Overly sexualized society. You know,
Right.
I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I'm talking about trying to shelter them from everything, and then you're going to send them out into this crazy world. And so, anyway, he was going into how when his children, the second they can pick up a spoon, he allows them to feed themselves. That's it. Very self-sufficient people from toddler age. He started as soon as he can, he does it. Now, I'm not saying you have to go full throttle with that, but I think us as women, learning how to balance our masculinity within us, we have to implement that, because we will sit there and, oh, well, come here, baby. Well, let me help. Do it. Finish it. You can do it. I know you can. Especially us, because people like the millennials, we overcompensate because our parents were, got to get up, do it. We didn't really see our moms cry. We didn't see them. I ain't never seen my mama cry other than when she was crying in a rage of Jesus and she was shouting or something. You know, she was not crying. She wasn't over anything unless she said she was crying, but she was crying in her room or something. But what I'm saying is that we need to get past that. Our children need to see us cry sometimes as women, but we also need to put boundaries in place so that, I'm getting to my point with you, Meek, we don't overcompensate. I find, like you, Meek, because of that lack of closeness, I'll say, you find yourself overcompensating as a parent. We see this a lot with single mothers who don't have a father figure in their child's life. Well, I'm gonna get them all the J's. I'm gonna get them all the shoes. I'm gonna get them all the things because his dad isn't there. So he'll never feel like he doesn't have anything. That's great, man, but he should be in a sport, or maybe he should still get those shoes, but maybe have him cut some grass in order to get the shoes. Or, you know, I find myself, because I lacked so much tangible things, I overcompensate financially with my children. Do you get what I'm saying? So they never have to feel poor. Do you find yourself overcompensating with your children?
Absolutely.
Emotionally.
Absolutely. Y'all remember that interview off of Kevin Samuels? That lady was funny.
What is that?
I'm trying to think of it.
Absolutely.
No, you gotta send it in a group chat.
No, but no, for real. Okay, so emotionally, right? Because my mom allowed us to talk. She wanted us to have emotions because she wasn't allowed emotions. But my daddy was on the opposite end. We was snot-nosed children, and children don't have opinions or feelings. They do what they told.
Wait, you got to run it back. So your mom,
she allowed us to speak. So if you were uncomfortable with something, she wanted to know how you felt. Like she never wanted you to be in a situation where you didn't get to express yourself. So my mother, she allowed us to talk to her. She was a play. That's why I'm a chatty catty, because my mama would be like, okay, tell me how you feeling. But my daddy was like, I don't give a damn. You don't got feelings. Okay. You a child. Children don't feel, they do. That's a quote. That is a quote. So with that, so it was like, damn, I can't express myself to him. And then now I'm feeling away. And then, you don't want to tell your mom how bad she makes you feel. So you don't usually say that to her. So with my kid gets to tell me how he feel. He tell me how much he feels so much that it come out to me wrong a lot. Like he be talking like, who are you talking to? Like we are not friends. We ain't friends. And then my daddy be like, that's what happens when you ask them people they feelings.
Ask them people. Oh, man.
Oh, he shot yourself in your foot. Now he think his words matter. And my son think they do. Like my son loves telling me what he don't want to do. He's like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm like, that's great. Fantastic. Good for you. Too bad I told you. Like, it really be given like white mom and white son.
Oh, damn.
People be asking me all the time, like, who's the parent? I'll be like, the line's blurred.
And see, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because that's a stereotype. But it is, and if I got any of my white sisters and brothers, how you doing in the comments? Y'all can let us know. But I have noticed that in the Black community, it is more so of a just shut the fuck up because I said it. And then versus, I find that with my Caucasian sisters and brothers, I find that their mothers and fathers are more willing to do soft parenting, or more willing to do have those conversations. And I will add to that, I even think that sometimes, because obviously we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. I don't really do the whole, yes, I understand the concept of race and what has happened, and it exists. We ain't gonna play them games over here. But I also, with that same breath, say it's a social program. This is something a man created to make another human hate another human. And it has been so embedded within the fabric of our society that unfortunately it continues, and it doesn't have to. Because it's really, until it was created, it wasn't real. Do you get what I mean? Like, until it was created by some evil person, you knew who you knew. You would love who you love. Now, yes, there's certain areas and cultures and, do certain things that are different, but it was more of a learning from one another. That's a whole nother story, rabbit hole. We ain't got time for it tonight. But, damn, I went down that rabbit hole. What the fuck was I saying that for? Parenting and different cultural differences in parenting. Yes, I found that in any type of community of color, I think that with some of the practices like spankings and just kind of being more stern, serious. Children are to work. Like my dad, his family, they're like gonna get on my nerves. I'm gonna fix that. But his family, they grew up in the South, so all the children, you had more babies. You needed as many babies as possible because that was more workers we had, So I think that for a very long time period, for just a moment, like we're not talking about ancient times, we're talking about like for a couple hundred years, it was very normal for the children to just be little workers. You know what I mean? Like just little workers. Like we didn't care what you feel. Like you are the cleaner, you pick this, you do that. And if you have a talent, great. We're going to make you tap dance so we can make some money off of it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't this, you weren't really looked at as a person until you got to a certain age. So I think that I love these conversations because it forces us to realize how much we have messed up. Yes, I get what your dad is saying. When you give them a position to think that just because you have an opinion, you will get the last word or get to do what you want to do, it ain't the same thing. Having an opinion and feeling a certain way is valid. I want to hear it. But as the adult, I might still have to make the executive decision. Understand that. And I think that it's hard with us as millennials because we are into mental health. We are into doing things like that. So we want to give our children a space to find themselves to be better, productive humans out here in society. But at the same time, oh, you got me fucked up. Because what you ain't gonna do is sit here and disrespect me. So I think in that moment, at least for me, I take a step back and I reset the tone, and I am still big on, I think, and we've forgotten this as millennials, you have to respect your elders. I do still feel that, like, just because you're old don't mean you wise, but I do feel that, age does have a certain level of respect that you should just naturally give, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, my son only has it with me. I'll be honest. Like, he respects some adults, but he's
You said some adults.
He's very Generation Z. He's very entitled. He is. I'm working on it, but baby, he Gen Z. He Gen Z. He's more mannerable than a lot of them. He don't walk around punching old ladies in the face and stealing their cane. But
you think that that's like, I don't know. I have like a, I don't want to say issue, but like when people be like, oh, that's just Gen Z, that's just how they act. And it's like, is it the generation or is it just individual people in that generation? Because like, are all Gen Zs disrespectful? And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. Like, I probably think it's probably a smaller amount than, I don't know. I'm just what do you think?
I don't say they all disrespectful, but in my experience, most of Gen Z is entitled, and entitlement don't got no age. So grandma's be in the way too.
I mean,
that's just it. Like, yeah. I know the difference between me and them. Like, how like back in the day, somebody would walk like an older lady across the street. Mm-hmm. You are not catching that in Gen Z at all. Like, at all. Like,
why? Why me? Because
I don't know, because I be trying to tell my kid to love old people.
Parenting.
We're not teaching them. We're not teaching them. When you see an older woman, compassion, they already behind these electronics, and it's desensitizing them, and empathy is plunging at an all-time high, and which causes, and people want to joke about narcissism and things like that, but lacking empathy is one of the number one signs of narcissism. What do y'all think we doing? People are obsessed with just likes and comments and BBLs, and none against BBLs. I gotta do what you do. But the point is, we're creating a what do you call it? Like, we're not connecting. Yeah. It's like with COVID, like what that did. It's like, if you're in your room all day on a computer, you're not connecting. So luckily the internet makes connections like this, which is great if we're using it. But I think we as the millennial parents have to make sure that, no, we're going to have Sunday dinner with grandma. No, we're going to take you coming with me to take grandma or mama to the store, help her with her bags. Like, I think it's just hard because, go ahead, Lam. What?
This might not sound okay. I don't want things to come off wrong, but so you were talking about your son, Meek, and I don't have any kids. So whenever I talk about, I don't tell people that have kids how to parent their children, because I have absolutely no idea. But when I think about myself, right, and the way I grew up, so I grew up with both of my parents, my mom and my dad. My dad worked, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And it's like, we knew our places, right? So my dad, financially, he was the head of household. He was at the end of the day, what he said is what goes, right? And then he would get my mom's input on things, and then sometimes they would ask us, but at the end of the day, my father would make that decision, and my mom was the one that I would say parented us the most. But I will say this, okay? The worst possible thing that my mom could say to me out of anything was, wait till your dad get home, right? Or I'm gonna tell your dad, right? That was the worst thing, because like, when you start wanting to get an attitude or pop up at your mom, because for some reason, I don't know what it is, it's easier to do that. But when you have to face your father, and you don't want to bother that man, he works too hard. And my mom made it very, very clear, your father works hard. So we respected our father. It was like, you don't talk back to him. So saying you have to wait until your dad gets home, we'd be like, why you gotta tell dad though? Like, please don't do that. It kind of kept you respectful, and you have to respect everybody, because you for sure aren't gonna go out into the world and disrespect people and then have to come home and face your father for it. So I'm saying, like, if there is a lack of like respect, I'm going to say with children nowadays, I'm going to say it might be because the father isn't there. And I'm not blaming fathers. I'm just saying that I know that for me, my father being there made me be like, okay, like it's like, again, there's levels to it. So our mom, we were well governed by our mom, but my father was the one you do not ever want to have a problem with. And it's not because he would discipline us harshly or anything like that at all, but we just have mad respect for him. And I think that when that's lacking, that's when it causes the issue for kids. You need
Yeah.
both parents. You need them. It's completely necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you, and I agree. I believe you have to have that balance. And let's say for the mothers who are single mothers or widowed, and it's just not a possibility. You just heard how much of an even bigger, you know what I'm saying, based off what she just said, and based off what a lot of people say who come up from two-parent households, it's always like the dad is the punisher, pretty much.
Yeah, no, my daddy was a disciplinarian. So,
Yeah.
like my mom, she wasn't like my mom whooped me one time my whole life. Like one time. She believed in talking to us because me personally, that was the way to discipline me. Like I don't need a spanking. Spankings hurt. And I'm gonna think longer about that pain than a conversation. Like a conversation, I'll change my act. Like you're disappointed in me. I didn't want them disappointed. I always wanted them proud of me. So it was like talking to me would solve problems. So I get that. And Lamb, I do agree. Like my kid don't got no dad. Because my kid don't got no dad, that is the difference. So even with me, like I teach him to open the door for like women and stuff. Like I don't touch no doors and I don't pump no gas. But still at the same time, when he see an older woman struggling with groceries, his mind doesn't click, oh, let me go help her. Like he'll see me and he'll ask me like, why are you helping that old lady? And it's be like, I would say, I was like, well, if this was my grandmother, I would want somebody to help her when she's struggling.
Right.
So he notices stuff
but
like
the fact that you say that, you are teaching him. So when he gets older, he'll probably be like, oh, you know what? I get it now. You know what I mean? So
he'll remember. Because our
hopefully.
children, they do. And too, it is, because I think sometimes when it's forced, go help that lady with her groceries. That can leave a certain tone to where they might never want to help a old lady with her groceries. But when you see mama helping a woman with her groceries, you're subconsciously being programmed to do it yourself, whether you want to or not. And yes, in a maybe balanced or more perfect world, if the dad is there, is get your ass over there and go help her. You a man? What do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it would be exactly.
And this is the thing. This is why we have these conversations, because when you are in a situation to where you are raising your children by yourself, as a lot of us are, it is very necessary to, one, seek a therapist. Second, this is why I always say, whether it's these conversations or not, I would never suggest having children with people outside of wedlock. And even then, to me, it's risky. I don't give a damn. Judge me, say whatever you want. Still risky as a woman. If you don't have children, if you don't want them, that's what I'm saying. Because even in a marriage, if you treat your children horribly, or if you don't want to be a mother, you're going to cause trauma to those children.
Absolutely.
Now so that's just my thing. Have children when you're ready to be a mother. And what does being ready to be a mother mean? It's different for everybody. I say this all the time. You do have some women that are like millionaires, and for financial reasons or whatever, they don't want to intertwine and do all of that. Find somebody they love, whatever. I guess they with them forever, have a baby. And at the end of the day, do what you're going to do. It's your womb, it's your body. We can't control you, right? But what we're saying is, if we are in a space of healing as women, and if we are trying to make things better, then we don't want to bring more scorned souls into this world trying to figure it out without a lot of direction, because I just want to have a baby, or because he said he wanted to have a baby with me. If a dude tells you, hey, it's motherfucking what time? 5:05, February 25th, 2024. If a dude tell you, I just want you to have my baby, and he's not,
close them legs.
If he ain't put a ring on,
don't fall for that.
Marry
What?
before you
Never.
carry, okay?
Yeah.
If he ain't put a ring on your finger, and or this is not just some, like it's a money thing. Like I talk to some women who are like, 6 figures, and it makes sense. But if it's just a situation where I just wanted you to have my baby so we can experience it, it almost sends me triggered now, and I ain't even got nobody asking me that. Because my thing is this: you want to make an 18-year bid with me, bro, but you don't want to love me through that. You don't want to build these children in a healthy household, but you want to just have a baby just to say you got one. Or
I don't even think that that's why they be saying that, though. I don't like, you think, okay, maybe not. Let me ask a question. So you think that the men that are like, I want to have a baby with you, and you're not married, right? Maybe you're just dating or whatever. You think they're saying it because they want to have a kid, or is there another reason? I think they're saying it because they know when it comes to like psychologically with women, it makes them feel something. And you'll be
special.
like, oh, you're more likely to sleep with them if you say these words. And
They
that's
already
all
just-
it's a level of manipulation to me, because
It is.
who would say what young man wants to really have a kid at 25? No, he's just saying it, bro. They're lines.
Good job, Lashana.
Yeah.
Put up Lashana comment. She said a man tried to do it to her. I mean, there are men who will try to trap you.
See?
Me as a woman who men tend to like, it's always been some man that wanted to put a baby in me. I had like my very first boyfriend. He did not want to marry me. Like my kid, when I met him, I had a 3-month-old. And he was my boyfriend. And he was like, just let me get you pregnant now and you can have another one. So I have a 3-month-old. Why would I have another baby? Like, and he's like, because you can have a baby with me. Y'all, he got 5 kids and 5 baby mamas right now. So people do it.
Yeah. People do it. And if as a woman, why are you allowing that?
It's just
they don't be having no love they self. And that's one thing that I refuse to be. I'm never gonna be a goofy where I would let some man convince me to do something that doesn't benefit me. Like my son is a lesson from God. Okay, out here doing stuff I ain't had no business doing. It wasn't some man telling me he loved me and I'll say, yes, we got a love child. No, that's goofy to me. So it's all about the decision that you decide to make. And a lot of these women hear this fantasy and they associate that baby as a connection. For whatever reason, you hear them say it all the time, a marriage could fall apart. Girl, I would rather get a divorce than have some man baby for 18 years.
Yeah, period.
Like, are you
Period.
serious?
Me too. Hey, I gotta sign
to me, I'm sorry. Like if a man says that to me and they say it, right? They have said it. I'm like, you mad reckless. Like, absolutely not. Like, I hear that and I'm like, well, this is the last time we talking, because it's a ridiculous thing to say. And then if we bring up like how LaShawn is saying marriage doesn't benefit me, who are you? Like, never. Like,
but popping a baby in me benefits
having your baby don't benefit me is what I would say.
Yeah.
How does me becoming a single mom help my life?
Yeah.
It's and that's the thing. It shows me that man is reckless. He's selfish. And if I decided to allow my emotions, right? Because if a woman, so I'm just saying, if a woman decides to take him up on his offer, you're thinking emotionally instead of logically, because you know darn well that logically this makes no sense. And you know that's not even what you want. You know that. And if you allow him to continue to run whatever game he is on you, he's going to have you convinced that, oh, well, maybe he'll marry me later, or maybe I don't need to get married. And maybe it is just, having a kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't allow your brain to be like led down a path that's outside of what you honestly believe. Right. I feel like that's easy sometimes.
I think that's the problem, Lamb. The belief is not there. And y'all know it ain't no harsh judgment over here. I've been there, done it. I've been naive, so I'm never harshly judging you. But I remember in those naive states, very long ago, might I add, I think that the problem was in my mind, you're stuck in what they're saying, right? And you think, just because maybe you're a girl of your word and you ain't really going nowhere, or you would think that, now this ain't with the baby piece. Hell to the no. I had one kid and that was, whatever. But I think with the baby piece, it kind of flows into that, even with the, I love you, let me stay with you. Or I love you, let me this. I love you. I think you have to look at a man's actions. Team Peterson was saying, saying a lot in the comments. And one thing he was saying is men have to learn consequence. Let me go back up. He was saying, that there are no consequences for their actions. We coddle baby and consider their feelings. Now that was a bit of a, reach. I do consider my children's feelings, but I get what he's saying. Like, if it's no consequences for your actions, you'll pop a baby in somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
because the man isn't thinking or caring about the future, so he's just gonna impregnate you. And then a woman is believing this fairy tale, but like you said, Lamb, this is why we have these discussions right here, right now. Put a barrier in your brain. Send this live stream to your cousin, your little cousin, your aunt, whoever it is that is still allowing themselves. We just watched that whole thing go viral. Who the F did I marry? Because even when her logical brain was trying to kick in and go red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, her emotional state as a woman was keeping her in a delusion of it could be. It doesn't matter what it could be. It matters what it is. It matters what it is. And that's why they say things like, you have to look at a man's actions and not his words. You have to look at what his life is telling you and not necessarily what he's just telling you. Because you can make our mouth say anything. So anyway, big respect to that. I know we kind of went down a rabbit hole. But
Lamb turn.
I know. Yeah. I just we had to touch on that. Yeah. Cause it's like, come on now, we're gonna do that. But yeah, so Lamb, if you don't mind, what do you feel like, your mirroring moment was for your mother, or how you got to a point of healing through whatever it was with your mother? And just give us a little bit of a background. I know Meek said that her parents were married and she explained what was going on in great detail, which was amazing, because at first, Meek, it sounded like your mother would have not cared what you were emotionally thinking. It was weird. She just had a thing with touch and expressing love. It was touch and expressing and saying it and doing that. So anyway, that's a nice piece. But Lamb, so yeah, what do you think about, like, how do you feel? What was your aha moment with your mom for you?
So a little bit of the backstory. I think I said a little bit earlier, but I grew up with both of my parents. My parents were married until they passed, right? So for like 40 years. And so I value the way that I was raised. Like, I appreciate it. Like, I have a lot of I want to say morals and ethics and standards, and all. The way that I see the world is very, I'll just say, conservative, because I grew up very religiously, very strict, very, like, we lived in a manner where if it wasn't by the Bible, it was wrong. It was just straight wrong. And so because of that, and maybe some people that grew up really religiously understand this, we weren't like, the type of people that pick and chose what parts of the Bible they wanted to live by. Like, you lived it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it was. And so because of that, when you're a kid and you're forming your own thoughts and you're becoming a person, I think, I want to say, maybe, I can't remember, but maybe when I was around 10, maybe my teenager, like maybe 12, 13 or something like that, I started thinking for myself, right? Because it takes time to get there, thinking for myself. And then I have questions, and maybe the questions that I have, or thoughts or whatever, don't really align, or maybe it's like something with the Bible, and it's like it wasn't really, how can I say, if there was a thought or a feeling that I had that was like against Bible teachings or something like that, it was thought to being wrong or negative, or you need to go reread the Bible. You know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is that, like, your thoughts and your feelings and whatever it is that you're trying to develop sometimes gets stunted. Okay. And so for me, it was like my thoughts and feelings were stunted. And because of that, I didn't feel at a certain point that I was able to maybe go to my parents and tell them what I'm thinking and feeling about things, even though they would tell me they would want that. And my mom would always say to me, how come you don't talk to me? How come you don't talk to me? And it was because I had a fear of, like, if I tell you what I'm thinking or feeling, you're just going to tell me I'm wrong anyways. Like, because I am, you know what I mean? And so I think I felt like there was something wrong with me or something. And so I spent a lot of time with myself, And so I realized that growing up that way, I had a negative outlook on life in general, not on life, on people, because I grew up in the belief that unless you're the same faith as me, like you're like the world is wicked, the world is, you know what I mean, the world is bad. And there's a lot of wicked people and a lot of wickedness in the world. We see that. And I understand why I was raised the way I was, because they were trying to protect me. And that's why I said I'm thankful for it, but it made me be really negative, and I actually felt bad internally. Like I remember as a kid, like again, maybe like 10, maybe I realized I was like 10, I was angry. Like I was just like not a happy person. You know what I mean? And so uh it wasn't, I realized when I got to being like 18 years old, I was like, all right, I need to leave, because I couldn't leave before then. I didn't have a way to take care of myself, but I had a job. And so I moved out when I was 18. And that was the first time, like the first time that I was able to be by myself and have my own thoughts without any outside person, like influence, like, your parents there. And I realized that I didn't have to think this way. I didn't have to think everyone was bad in the world. I didn't have to think that everything is wrong and that the only people that'll make it are the people that are the same religion as me. I don't have to think this way. But it wasn't until I had to leave and get out of that environment in order for me to see that, and so that didn't automatically heal me at all. I still had a lot of work to do. I had to actually go through counseling to be like, all right, how do I get out of having this like animosity or whatever it is that I was feeling, So the aha moment that I had, I guess if that's what we're calling it, is when about my teenage years. And so I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my mom. The one thing that I wish, because we're saying the mother I needed, I wish, what I needed was for them to maybe, and this goes against what Team Peterson is saying, to be able to listen to me, because I feel like I needed to speak and I couldn't, and so
That's powerful.
It carried on my whole entire life until my mother passed. And my mom was always asking me my whole life, how come you don't talk to me? How come she wanted me to speak, and I was like, I can't talk to you. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, we were raised very, I want to say, respectfully, and like me and my brother, like we're very considerate. Like I don't disrespect anybody. I have respect for all people. Like, you know what I mean? And so what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought. But
you were basically saying you all are respectful to all people, but you still had that like stigma of, but these people are not like me, and that is not right. But but yeah, no, I definitely it was limit your voice. That's where you were. That's why you got caught up in.
Yeah. So the thing that I needed was to be able to be listened to. Like I needed to be able to speak without being judged by my parents. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I just want to be heard. And so that's the thing that I needed counseling for the most, was being able to actually speak, because I had a hard time expressing myself and saying anything at all. I kept everything to myself my whole entire life. And so, yeah, like
that's crazy. No, it hurts me, because I thank goodness you were in a 2-parent household and things were quote unquote safe. We're just for the sake of, not spilling too much goddamn tea. And I'm sure it was, right?
Absolutely.
But just imagine a child in a toxic household that's getting that same treatment,
right,
that doesn't want to speak or doesn't want to say what's going on with them. From the worst example to just what you said, it is stunning my development as a woman and as a mother when I become a mother, because I'm at this weird space of trying to really develop and find myself, my voice, and how it can be respected. And also too, fuck all that. It's like you're trying to get past speaking your truth. And then you got the second piece of that is dealing with the judgment that comes after I speak my truth. Because now you had to be in a space of learning that whole dynamic. So
and the thing was this, again, like like I don't have any kids. Like having sex before marriage was not a thing. Like having a kid was completely out of the question, and so like my story is not traumatic, like especially in comparison to Meek's at all. But like even as simple as mine was, like I grew up very privileged, right? And my whole issue was that I wasn't allowed to talk. Like I sound ridiculous probably, but no, like for me, this is the biggest deal for me. And like and the things that when you want to just ask questions, and that's the issue, it's not like you have behavioral issues, right? Like I never had a behavioral issue. I was a good kid, you know. The fact that I can't even ask a question without being made to seem like you're wrong in some kind of way, that didn't work in my mind. And so not only did it like stunt me being able to communicate, I, for almost my whole entire life, was like, I don't know if I want to have kids. I had absolutely no idea, because I'm like, I don't want to be this judgmental person to my kid because I know what it did to me. So I need to be able to fix this within myself before I bring somebody here and then I react the same way, overreact, right, to little things that don't even matter, and then have my child not wanting to speak to me my whole life. Like,
yes, yeah, and it's super. It's first off, thanks for sharing that. You don't sound ridiculous at all. This is why these conversations have to happen, because I think sometimes, unfortunately, people who have been through trauma, we will say, well, that one shit ain't nothing she went through, and she isn't that now. Well, she sounds like she was privileged, and look at her life. And that's why you can't do that. These stories right here and these interactions with us as women show you why, as a person, you shouldn't do that. Just because a person has more financially than you, or even a two-parent household, yes. Does it save you from Pick Meek's extreme story where we like, do tell more, do tell me.
Right. My story not even that extreme to me. So look.
See, and that's what it is. But
I met some people with some way worse situations. So it's just like, for me, it's like, oh, my parents ignored me. That's cool.
Right.
They ain't want, that's cool, you know?
Right. And comparing ourselves to other people's experiences, they're like, oh, well, it wasn't as bad as Meek's. Oh, mine wasn't as bad as someone else. And it's like, that doesn't even matter. What someone else has gone through has nothing to do with you and what your experience is.
It does not. It does not. But that's how we've been taught. As women, we are taught to compare. We are taught to complain. We are taught to nitpick. Even as our mothers, like I know getting ready, like I was super anal about my hair. She was, you know, my mom, even now, girl, she even now is still like super crazy about her image unconsciously. And so I think that because as women, it's already this nitpicking, it's this denial that we go through. It's that you're wrong, you know. And I was born up very religious as well. As I share with you all, my mom's an evangelist right now. So I think that when you do have that upbringing and you're so different from what they believe, like keep in mind, right? I'm a spiritualist and my mom is a evangelist. We're really the same for real. We care about people, healing, God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. But yet we can't even bond in that moment because I'm a witch or this. And then she's the angel. When in reality, my mama's definitely more high strung. And y'all know how mamas be, a little negative. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
It's like, okay, whatever. But no, I get it. I get that judgment. And it makes you feel like you get to doubting yourself, which thank God they implemented those morals in you, lamb. But I think what's so dangerous about having that is that when you get out into the world and you get to dating, right? And we wonder why we have so many single mothers and women who just having children, and or even just women who are just like overly hypersexual to a certain extent. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with a healthy sex life. That's not what I'm talking about. But when it's just like, it's like this manic thing that you go through, right? A part of that is trying to get that fulfillment that you didn't get from mom and dad and feeling accepted and wanted and vulnerable. It's a whole thing. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate that, Lamb, because one thing, just a little piece. In astrology, your second house is your wealth house, aka your voice box. Think about it. If you can't speak, how are you going to make money, right? So if you can't talk and if you can't find your voice, then sorry, y'all. Then how are you going to make money? How are you going to even hell speak your truth? So when you're saying that and you're like, I know it doesn't sound like really a big deal, but no, it's a hell of a big deal. it's a hell of a big deal that you have a voice that is trapped. And the moment that I try to unleash this voice, I'm harshly judged. And then it makes you feel all these types of ways, you know? So anyway, that's just what I took from
Gosh.
that. Yeah, that's just
And
that's
like,
just
first, like, it's for real deep for me because I'm emotional right now about it.
yeah,
Aw.
but I love it.
Well,
That's
Lamb, I love you.
yeah, I love you too. And it's strength in emotion. It's strength in emotion. Hell, it's the motherfuckers that ain't out here crying that we need to be looking at. It's these goddamn narcissists and these motherfuckers running around. I'll be trying to tell you about people emotionally expressing themselves, especially as a woman, who we are very masculine as women. Like we've been conditioned to be masculine women, and then they yell at us. But it's like, yeah, we need to cry more. We need to feel like it's a safe space for me to let this out because we don't go deeper than just the surface. You know,
Twice a week. I cry twice a week. I do not be playing.
Meek, first off, what the fuck are you talking? You're not gonna do them. You're not gonna do me like this.
I cry twice a
What do
week.
you mean? Have you been
I cry.
answer this and please let me finish because you're going you know what you do to me. Do you purposely say I need to cry twice a week? And so you be sitting there with your Capricorn ass talking about let the tears come out.
No.
Or do you just naturally find yourself crying twice a week?
I do it twice a week, naturally. So
Okay.
it's usually for sure on Sunday. And how it comes about is always different. Sometimes I cry while I'm praying. Sometimes I cry while I'm listening to something. Sometimes I cry just randomly, but it's like my body has to do it. It's like
Yeah.
since I made the decision to be more feminine, because I'm a reformed savage, baby. So when I decided that I didn't want to be a masculine little boy Meek no more, and I wanted to be little girl Meek, and becoming more in tune with myself and diving into my emotions. Because before I would ignore my emotions and be like, "Suck it up, chump. We got stuff to do." But now it's like, no, I have to feel how I need to feel in order for me to operate correctly. Like if I'm holding on to something that's bothering me, I might carry that throughout my whole entire week and make my decisions incorrectly because I'm too emotional. So like crying is literally at church they say it's a cleanse. So
Well, in science, it releases oxytocin, which otherwise it says crying for long periods of time releases oxytocin, otherwise known as endorphins. These feel-good chemicals help release both physical and emotional pain. Once endorphins are released, your body may go into what is a bit of a numb stage, but it's healthy. It's healthy. And that's why, like we're talking about parenting, it's healthy to cry, it's healthy to let it out. And we're talking about such a sensitive topic. And just like we said, whether you have physical children or not, we are all mothers as women. We all carry the mother archetype, all of us. So yeah, Lamb, I appreciate that. And just to have
you do got a baby. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, and that's the other thing. Hold on,
because you were part of raising my baby.
Huh?
You were part of raising my baby. Y'all in my village. So
yeah, for sure.
So I was gonna say this. I was gonna say two things. One, Meek, like my mom actually, sometimes she would just be crying, and I'm like, I would go and be like, "Are you okay?" And she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Sometimes I just need to cry." And I never understood that. And I'm like, "What do you mean you just need to cry?" She would just do that sometimes. You know what I mean? And so that, and then one other thing is this. This is how, with what you're saying, Crystal, like having to like reserve yourself and hold everything in, it causes more issue than what I think people think. And so one of the things that I never did, one of the reasons why I never like expressed myself and I would say things is because it built up so much to where anytime I talked about anything at all that was important to me, I would start crying automatically. And I'm like, man, I'm just, even sometimes the thought of talking about something that I care about would cause it to happen. And I was like, see, I can't have this because I'm out here looking real weak.
No, you're looking real
strong. This is what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, to me, it makes me seem like I'm weak. And then two, it makes people feel bad for me because they're like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, I promise you I'm okay. I don't even mean to be crying right now. It's just happening. And so I just hold all of this stuff in. And doing that was part of that negative feeling that I feel literally my whole life. Like I felt it all the time. And I could feel it in my chest. And I'm like,
Yes, I was
"I
just, you
feel
read my
like
mind.
this."
I was saying I was literally thinking in my head, you can feel it in your chest.
Yeah, I can feel it literally right here. And I will tell you this, ever since I went to counseling and I figured out how to actually process my emotion, actually allow myself to feel it, allow myself to cry, understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and then go through that whole thing. That feeling that I've had here, it's literally not there anymore because I
Yep.
don't hold all of those
Yep.
feelings in. I know how to process my emotions properly now, and in doing that, I do not take out my feelings on other people. Right?
Yeah.
I just don't do it. And I
Yep.
don't take it out on myself anymore because when you hold it in, you're taking it out on yourself. And that's really bad. It makes
It's
you
really
feel
bad.
like it actually can make you feel really depressed because you're in a negative state all the time. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
Hypercritical, too hyper analytical about yourself. If you get like that, nothing is ever good enough. Yeah, because you hold it in. Shout out to Team Peterson. Um, um, damn, what did he say? He just said something. Oh damn it, what was it? He said something that just related to what you were saying about he called me Sister Chakra. He talking about Crystal Chakra. Right. Team Peterson. That's the heart chakra. Like for real, on some real shit. Like when you have that feeling in this area, your throat chakra to be able to speak, and your heart chakra, the ability to be able to love and empathize and feel and see yourself in everybody and just be open to just expressing yourself. If you want to dance like a fucking idiot in the middle of the club because you're just trying to do your thing, that's a piece of your heart chakra because it's saying, hey, I'm open to receiving that idiot over in the corner going like this. So if I want to do this, that's my goddamn business. So obviously I went over the top with that. But it really allows you when you get yourself aligned, healing, chakras, Jesus, forgiveness, whatever you want to call it, forgiving yourself, learning yourself, it puts you in that space. So yes, and thank God, Team Peterson, y'all don't have as much estrogen as we do, or yeah, you would. It definitely sucks sometimes being a woman
Right.
because of the chemicals. Too much.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
No,
So
you really be just a crybaby. Like the other, like what was that? Yesterday, I was like, I ain't cried all week. I need to cry. I need to cry. I'm gonna have to cry later because I need to cry. I ain't cried all week.
I knew it was that. I was waiting on it. Thanks. Thanks, Meek. See, I also am into astrology, so I want you all to understand she's a Capricorn. So when we come about another conversation outside of this, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about with her ass. Because Capricorns be like, I asked my cousin real quick, she a Capricorn. I'm like, dang, I'm like, cuz I need to get these last few pounds off, blah, blah, blah. She's like, just starve yourself. Stop eating. Like, starve yourself. I'm like, you've been starving yourself? Yeah. So I call her. I'm like, are you still starving yourself? Yeah. And she's joking. She's literally not. She's not. She's fasting. Let's be clear. But she's coming from a Capricorn mind of restriction. Stop doing it. Cut it off. So anyway, it's funny. But anyway, last but not least, guys, because I know we're going over. I kind of piggybacked off of you all. But I would definitely say for myself, becoming the mother that I wish I had, like I said, I love my mother. I think it's because of her that I appreciate religion at the level that I do and studying different religions and spirituality. My mom says all the time that she doesn't know where she would be without Jesus. That's what she says. And I do believe that church and religion kept my mom's sanity a lot with a lot of the things she experienced being married to my dad. And so I'm very grateful of that. I think that although I did gain that love of the doctrine and script and books and shit like that, I think the downside of that is the piece that I enjoyed of it was the piece she wouldn't dare look into. So for me, it was always feeling. And then on top of that, my mom is definitely a Pentecostal, women don't wear pants. Women wear skirts and dresses. So I've never heard my mom curse. I've never My mom has never smoked a cigarette before or even drank a glass of wine. Like she won't even do it. She's very, very strict on herself. But within that, she has other areas. She ain't strict about what she eating. She got a good metabolism. So my mom's like 130 pounds, but the point is, and she's like, oh my God, I got to get back down to 116. You ain't gonna be able to, man. And she does eat a lot of vegetables and stuff, but like she want her Chinese food, bro. Like she want that fried chicken. She ain't stopping it. Versus I'm the total opposite. I will stop. I will restrict it. I'm vegan. So I will be like, no. But at the same time, I lack in my other areas, right? So things I took from her, but I wouldn't say I agree with Lamb. And Meek as well. I had that you could talk to me about anything, but I really couldn't talk to her about anything.
Mhm.
I also felt that it was like, oh, I love you, but you love me after you just gave me a beating. Like I didn't, that never correlated with my brain as a child.
Mhm.
Beat me or not beat me. My mom didn't beat me. It was in the black community, it's called a whooping, but it's a beating, technically, if you're using an object to me. And it didn't happen a lot, but the point is, it's just in our culture. It's so if you're hard-headed, you get a whooping. But for me, that scorned me and it didn't help me at all.
Mhm.
Uh, it hurt me because I just felt like every time I was trying to be me, it was always met with a dislike, or it's not good enough. Or, I think too, it was being a middle child, I was very ignored. I felt like I was ignored. I don't think my mom sees it like that. But in her defense, like we said, she was taking, she had three girls. So, my brother is much older than us. So he was already kind of on the East Coast at this time. But my mom experienced a lot because of my dad's behavior, who I love my dad. He's actually my biggest supporter with my spiritual life because I'm called everything under the book except a child of God. People literally hate me just for my love of people and the way that I find my connection with God because under certain script, it's not the way that you should. That's fine. But I think feeling that from your mother does something else to you. And I don't think my mom hated me at all, but I think she definitely resented me for a good period because it's like, why can't you just be right? Why do you have to be the rebellious one?
Mhm.
Why can't you just be calm and more poised like me? And, you know, well, why don't you enjoy going to church? And, I think it was just an irritation for her. It had to be as a mother. You know what I'm saying? Your child, I like football. I like this. And I was a little girl. So that would be a big piece for me, and just never feeling like my interests were cultivated or given any attention to. Now, how that translates into me being a parent, I overcompensate. I'm always asking my oldest every 5 seconds, "You sure you don't want to do volleyball? You sure you don't want to do?" And she like, "No, mom, I just want to, study for this biology exam and chill. And that's why I think astrology is so important, knowing my children's placements. Both of my children are Pisces rising. They rule relaxation. They need more sleep and rest than the average people. So that's another topic that I'll be doing with Walola Work. Shout out to her. We're doing a workshop on understanding your birth chart and your children's birth chart so that you can understand why the perception of your older child and how they saw you as a mother is different from how your younger child saw you as a mother. And
Mhm.
also how your ass actually is as a mother, because we ain't gonna play them games.
Right.
We're gonna talk about what you've been doing. Because we all have a shadow. None of us are perfect. We all got a shadow. We all have areas which in we lack as mothers. For me, it is uh um a few things. My mom's very timely. I could never get time together. I'd be late, like, oh, come on, we gotta go. Right. So we work on ourselves, but it takes that accountability. But I think with my children, I overcompensate. Like I said with y'all, like just overcompensating. Because I felt so unwanted, I overdo it. Wear what
Mhm.
you want, not wear what you want where we being hoochie mama. Now, hey, we ain't playing that, but like express yourself. You want to throw a pink strand of hair in, let's do it. You're 13, you want to, have a little emo look. My daughter went through her little emo phase or her little little rock phase where like she wanted to do the black and the, Hot Topic. Come on, let's go. My mom, when I would be into my artistry, she was like, I'm not going to that devil store. But she knew I wanted it. Yeah, my mom's a
That's
Gemini.
what my mom would say.
I didn't want to devil store. But she went in there anyway. And that's why I love my mom, because although she's definitely a radical Christian, I would say. I think a part of her always was just like secretly accepting me at a certain point, because she would, let me go on her for Christmas and stuff like that. But yeah, for my children, that's what I do. So I'm overly doing it with the be yourself, be true to yourself, know who you are, so that you never get finessed out cheating these streets and then be letting these little boys play with you. That's my big thing, especially being a young mother. So
Bring up Patricia's comment, the
yes,
second one.
for sure.
She said, I had to heal from my parents. What helped me was understanding what they went through as a child. That is absolutely it. Meek said that herself. Like that's what I had to do in order for me to not have any negativity or animosities. Be like, listen, like my parents are people, and I know that they did the best that they could, and it is what it is, and hopefully if I have kids and I do something, I think I'm doing the best, but somehow I messed them up. Hopefully they give me that same grace and be like, look, I tried. I promise you I did the best I could. Because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like how devastating is that, where you're like, man, I feel like I'm doing the best as a kid, but then your kid still has a problem with you and they can't get over it. Like, not get over it, but they can't work through it and try to understand that you're a person just like they are, So yeah, absolutely.
But
Oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead, Meek. Go ahead.
So what I was gonna say, I want to add, because I am a mom, so to cut down on these things, I actually have like a mom, what's that? Like a annual of some sort. I always ask my kid his experience. Tell me about your child experience here in this home. Like, and it's like I might not necessarily take everything that you say and apply it within the household, but I for sure like to find out where he is. And I let him know all the time, like, like mommy a human too, and mommy goes through stuff. Mommy has feelings, and mommy needs you to understand when mommy's having a tough day. Because sometimes I'm having a rough day. So one thing I am grateful for is that child is beyond emotionally intelligent. Like I can walk through the door and he can look at my face and know, oh, this ain't the time to bother her. So he'll walk out the room and he'll send me a text and he'll be like, I can tell you need some time, mama. I'll come talk to you in 30 minutes. And I'm like, thank you. Because today was a day, So it's just like, that is something that we can teach to our children. Like if we can teach them how to have bad habits, we can teach them how to have good habits. So It's all about what we want to do. And I mean, y'all, we breaking cycles. Okay, we breaking cycles nonetheless.
Yeah, we are. We're breaking cycles.
Yes. You know what? I will say this. Again, I don't have no kid, but for me, the cycle that I broke is this. The one thing that I really think would have helped with our family dynamic in general, first of all, I thought my family was the most dysfunctional family. I was like, man, why is my family so dysfunctional? And then I get out here and I talk to other people and I'm like, oh, your family really wasn't that bad, but we're all dysfunctional. But anyways, I think the thing that would have helped if they were open to therapy. And like, I'm like, everybody needs counseling in this house, but my parents were not that, that age group. My dad was born in 1940. My mom was born in 1954. Like they didn't go to no therapy. You know what I mean? And so for me, and therapy was the Bible. Like I have Jesus. Like I'll go to the church and get my therapy. And I'm like, that ain't the therapy we need. Okay, that's not the problem here. The problem is something else. And we need professional help. And so I was like, I'm getting some counseling because I cannot, so that's the cycle. Like Black people not getting professional help when you need it because we're so damaged. Like that's it right there. And Meek goes to counseling. Crystal, I'm assuming you've gone. I don't know if you're not, but
I'm not a counselor right now, but I've been.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. It's all about healing. You cannot, I don't care what nobody say. And I have this conversation all the time because it's like self-help books get you a certain place. Talking to your friends getting you a certain place. But there is a point where you're going to reach a crossword where it's
Yes.
I don't know how to dig myself out of this. I don't have the tools. And that's all therapy is. They give you the toolbox that you need to succeed within life. Like,
Yep.
my therapist didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know. Like, I knew that I suffered from depression. However, I didn't have the tools to know how to deal with it. Like, I know when an episode is coming on. I can feel it. Like, I can tell when it shifts. It's like, but I have a choice. It's either I sit here and allow this depression to take over, or I get up and I go to my happy place, the gym. Two things happen there. One, I'm somewhere I enjoy to be. Two, I'm releasing dopamine. So that is a natural bringer downer to my depression. So it's just, I have to decide to be better. Like, so I'm tired of sitting around and sitting in a dark room and not having what I need and complaining about it. So then therapy helped me. But then I would get stuck in places where it was like, dang, I can't get past this hump, my old life and my new life. And then Jesus has helped me with that. So I have to double it up. I can't just say therapy. I have to say Jesus and therapy, because with those two things keep me grounded. Therapy gives me the tools, but Jesus keeps me reminded of why I'm purposeful and why I'm moving through things.
I love it. Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, I believe about I don't know if y'all saw, but Team Peterson said we break the chains. No, it wasn't that one. It was a different one he had posted. Hold on. No, what there was that one where he said we want our parents wanted us to be better than them and have a better
Absolutely.
life than theirs. One thing I noticed, especially with my dad was is like he's like an escaper. He like his escapism. He was a musician. Even on my dad's side, they're pastors. And so they grew up in the church. My dad, when he was a child, it was only church and work. And when
Yeah.
he was born, his older brothers, he wanted to work with them. I didn't find this out until recently. So when he was like 5, he was like, I want to work. Now, in that moment as a child, we know he really just wanted to bond with his dad and his big brothers who leave in this house. But guess what my grandpa said?
Okay, you can get a job.
All right, get the rake. So I didn't know that my dad had been working since he was 5 years old. It would explain why he was a runner and had to escape and go somewhere else, because he never got a chance. It was like a Michael Jackson effect in my brain. It's just what I think. I feel like you never got that time to be a child. So I just wanted to end it with that. I think we need to ask our parents about their childhood. And as people, we need to stop hiding and lying about our childhood as mothers, as women with our children. So that way they can deeply understand us. Did y'all have anything else to add before we finish up? I'm so sorry. I know I kept y'all longer than I promised.
I have a closing statement. I would just like to say, lastly, anything that you feel like you didn't receive from your parents, it's your responsibility to go out and teach it yourself. They can only give us as much as they can. So anything that you're missing, you have to fill up that cup. And lastly, change starts within you. So if you want to see the change, be the change.
Bet. I love that. What are your last words, Lamb? Closing words, I should say.
I think the best thing that someone can do is you gotta give energy for more than just yourself. I'm not wording this correctly. You have to have a goal other than just pleasing yourself, really. So like you need to find someone, something to attach yourself to that's bigger than you, and then that'll keep you from being selfish and like the going down a negative path in life, right? So I'm just saying, just be a light to other people, be nice to people, be kind to people. Try to, when you talk to somebody that's different than you, just listen, right? Without trying to change or correct or what have you, because as we all see, we all grew up differently but kind of similar, and we never know what someone's going through, like we said before. And it's like all we need to do is listen to what someone's going through and give them benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? And that, I think that's helpful overall to have like a better, like positive society. But you always got to keep your ears open and know signs of like, all right, there's this is danger, but I don't know, extending grace to people, I think, is really like lacking. Yeah, I think
It is.
Yeah.
I think the world right now is it's so negative, and everyone's like everything and everyone's out trying to get everybody, and they are, and people are, but it's like there's people that aren't either. And so instead of focusing on the negative people and the negative things, focus on the good people that are around you, and then forget everything else. Because if you do not give light to the negativity, then it ain't gonna find you like that. It's just not.
No, that's bars, Lamb. And yeah, no, it's straight up bars, Lamb. So it definitely is definitely bars. I think it's that grace, it's that ability to have like that Christ consciousness, like they say, to have that love for the next person. And I think within that love, okay, once we recognize the problem, how can we begin to heal this? How can we work through this? And if we cannot find someone who can help us through that the best we can. So I love that. One last time, can y'all please give out your handles, where they can find you, and what social media platforms?
So mine is just the Black Lamb at YouTube. That's it.
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at pick_meek.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us tonight. Well, this evening, I should say. This was a very beautiful, healing conversation. I feel good. I feel like Nina Simone, like feeling good. Like I'm ready to work out this month. But it feels really good just to have these conversations. So I appreciate you guys. Even if you're watching this later, share it with someone. I'm sure somebody needed something that we said in here. I'm sure as women, as people. Even as men. And make sure that you follow both of these beautiful ladies. You will be seeing much more of their faces. You'll be seeing me on their platform as well. But as always, happy Sunday to everybody, and have a good rest of your week.
God bless.
Hi.
I thought she would just stop it.